Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
Got Jaime and Fuego here.
And we're here on location doing another in-theater review, this time for a film that's been out for at least a few days at this point. We wanted to get an early screening, but it conflicted with a different early screening that we did for Blair Witch 2016.
Yeah, and that's because you and I both love Kevin Smith, and this is the first film of his we've got to see together in theaters, am I right?
Yep, absolutely. So what are we watching?
We are watching Yoga Horrors, and might be the strangest Kevin Smith movie I've ever watched.
It definitely was.
My lord.
It is the second in the True North trilogy, the first being Tusk, this being the second, the third upcoming Moose Jaws being the last of the trilogy. And this is essentially a Kevin Smith full moon feature.
Yeah.
I mean,
very well put.
It was very much Ginger Dead Manny or, you know, what are Puppet Masters, got the same sort
Maybe
of
at the end,
miniature look.
Yeah, man, but at least the first two-thirds of the film were, as he had forewarned his fans, straight up Degrassi.
Yeah, well, I never watched Degrassi, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, Canadian melodrama, man, you got quite a thing for Canadian melodrama, and this was just very strange and very silly. I did enjoy the weird graphics that like jumped in constantly, and
it was a little Suicide Squad-y that way,
maybe,
frankly.
Yeah, and I would imagine he devised this before Suicide Squad.
I imagine so.
Or did he?
Yeah, I imagine he did, yeah, because Suicide Squad has only been out for a month or so, and there's no way he could have redone the entire intro. He must have had that in mind, because I think he even said at one point that the credits come up like sports cards almost, like with their statistics and things like that, which were funny jokes in and of themselves. Like, this movie did have a good amount of laughs, way more laughs than Tusk for sure, but it was made to be a teenage girl comedy monster movie, essentially is what it came down to. And did it succeed in entertaining us is the real question, because we're obviously not the target demographic.
Not at all.
Outside of the fact that we're Kevin Smith fans.
Honestly, I would say it did succeed even more so than many of his most recent pictures. It's definitely not really a horror movie, and I mean, the reason that we are covering this on the Horror Show is because it was featured on all the different sites, and you know, the fact that there's killing and, you know, Nazis, which I think we talked about in our 31 review. Why must there always be Nazis in all of these movies?
Well, this wasn't regular Nazis though, this was Bratzis. These
were Bratzis, yes. We're talking little miniature-sized Kevin Smith Nazis that came from the flesh of, what is the Hollywood Babylon guy?
From Ralph Garman, and they are miniature bratwursts dressed as zombies that basically have a couple of words, Nein and Wunderbar, and that's how they communicate with each other, which was kind of funny. And it was funny seeing Kevin do his like, you know, creature acting, and when they had multiple Bratzis on camera at once, and you know, they were all doing slightly different things, it was pretty funny. But I gotta say, they clearly didn't have a huge budget for effects, and I know that
the CGI was so terrible.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I hesitate to say that because I know the budgetary limitations, and I know that his co-host Andy McElfresh from Edumacation did all of the special effects in this film, or most of them, as far as I understand it. And he spent a lot of time on it, and you can tell the time was spent, but you can also tell there was budgetary limitations.
Okay, well, I thought the Bratzis looked great, but when the Bratzis were squashed was when
that was clear CG spurting. Yeah. There was not. I didn't really see many practical bratwursts destroyed. You know, like, you'd think that'd be something they'd want to pull off at least one time in the movie to get that good practical monster movie effect.
Well, they did have one big practical monster that comes in the third act that we cannot divulge right at the moment. But I must say, everything else in this movie really just, I mean, story-wise, as silly and stupid as it was, I had more fun with this than I have with a Kevin Smith movie since, dare I say, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, because I honestly feel like K. Smith has been trying to find his voice so desperately. He tried Jersey Girl, doing the heartwarming, like, family thing. Didn't work. He went back to the wall for Clerks 2. Didn't work for me. He tried to do a movie, well, you know, to each their own, but then he tried to do a movie which was like him emulating people who emulated him, which was Zack and Miri. And so, I mean, and then Red State, interesting divergence, especially for us being horror fans, right?
Yeah, I don't know that it's so much he's finding his voice. I don't think he's just doing what he wants to do,
rediscovering,
and it's not, you know. I mean, I don't even think it's that. Like, he knows what he likes to do, and what he likes to do is what he wants to do. he wants to do that in his own way. He doesn't really particularly care if his movies aren't for everyone. He knows that it's going to be a very niche audience that goes to see these movies. So I just don't know if it's quite as soul-searchy as you might be thinking it is.
I just love the guy so much, and those first 5 movies of his were not scary in any fashion, but you know, they spoke to me very directly, and he's just been doing very different things and experimenting and all that stuff. And Tusk was a weird film in this True North trilogy that just left me with an odd emptiness at the end, and not in a bad way, in like a Disturbed sort of way. You know, you never go full Tusk, bro. You're never supposed to go full Tusk. And Justin Long, who appears in this film as the yoga instructor, he went full Tusk in that, not playing
Yogi
the same
Bayer.
character, obviously. Was that funny? He's like, why am I getting sued? What's going on
You're telling me. Yeah, I'm not going to ruin the second joke, but it was pretty funny. And I got to say,
I liked it.
hitting on the acting real quick, I thought Gila Point, Johnny Depp, in case you didn't know, was really funny, and a particular thing that they did that I don't know if they did in Tusk, but it was really obvious in this because Gila Point was on camera many more times, is he has 3 moles that constantly move positions on his face. There's one, it was once in between his eyes, and then they like move over here, and then like they're all on one side. Like it was really,
that's a little scary.
It was a really funny visual gag if you were paying attention. But what I actually really liked, of course, I liked, like you said, Justin Long. I liked Adam Brody as the drummer because that was a big turn from Seth and the OC, this big tattooed, like crazy 35-year-old drummer. Hilarious. So but I actually really liked the 2 Colleens. I thought Harley Quinn Smith and Lily Rose Depp did a really excellent job as their characters. They were both extraordinarily believable,
especially and with Donuts for
fun and funny. Yeah, well, they had that one at Tusk.
5 minutes. It was great.
But I thought they did great. What about you?
I did too. I completely concur. They were believable. They were funny. I haven't watched a lot of Degrassi either, just like you. I'm sure it's mighty scary. You know, Drake emerged from that. God forbid. But hey, man, it was funny. The fact that Depp's child and K. Smith's child, you know, they've been friends since going back to the early celebrity children's school days and such. So they obviously had a association and a repertoire and stuff, and so that probably helped out.
And I thought the 2 12th graders were really funny. I don't remember the blonde one's name, the really good-looking young blonde dude, but I do know his friend was Tyler Posey from Teen Wolf, and it was really funny seeing him. He's the main guy in Teen Wolf, so it was really like funny seeing him being the sidekick jerk, and he was really funny though. But I dug the acting in this sort of more than anything else, except I gotta say, as a fan of Hollywood Babylon, I've heard Ralph Garman do the voices that he does at the end of the movie so many times, and it was just, it was so cringy considering the movie is made for teenage girls and you have the oldest impressions that comedians can do, and granted he does them very well.
And didn't they even joke in the movie?
Yeah, the girls didn't understand. They didn't know. Yeah, and Johnny, and it was, you know what? That's true. It was obviously on purpose because that was a funny beat to play on. Because Johnny Depp is like nodding. He's like he knows who everyone is, but the girls are just like we don't know who that is. So you know what? In retrospect, in thinking of it like that is actually a funny way to do it. But
well, yeah, even when they were reading reviews of this film before we saw it, because we ended up seeing the Blair Witch instead, and I kind of feel bad because of my love of K. Smith. There's a part of me that wishes we saw this earlier, but yeah, they were reading reviews, and Garman was even doing the voices when they were reading the reviews. Very funny. I mean, funny for guys like us, but maybe for that target teen audience that Kevin is looking for, it's...
It might have fallen a little flat, that bit. And unfortunately, I do have to say that the third act, the final action piece,
when it finally turned into kind of a horror movie,
the final action piece was
the only reason
it turned into a horror movie sort of halfway through.
No.
But the final action piece was just super underwhelming. Like he put all this money into this big effect, and then it just gets, I think, dramatically underutilized.
That was the practical portion we were discussing too, one of the only parts in it. You know,
so it was a little easy, I thought. It was a little bit of a simple, and K. Smith acknowledges that he is not an action director. He likes directing people talking, and if he could, just avoid action altogether, he would. So it kind of shows, unfortunately, because if you don't like doing action, it's not going to come off great.
Yeah, but as a whole, I must say, being a fan of Kevin Smith, I like this so much more than I was expecting to. As, man, did I feel like I was dumber walking out of the theater, but at least in the fashion where I didn't regret losing those brain cells.
He gave us ample warning going in what the movie was going to be, so we didn't really have an opportunity to be disappointed or surprised by what we got. We knew it was going to be a movie aimed at teen girls, and you know, with silly effects, and that's exactly what we got. So we had no reason to be disappointed.
No, not at all. And in fact, I enjoyed it way more than I was expecting to. My only question is, when they had that drummer going, who was playing the bass and the guitar, man?
Oh, that was a good question. Yeah, I was wondering that too. I was like, it sounds like there's a whole band here, but I'm only seeing 2 singers and a drummer.
We got to see somebody in the post-credits.
Must have been live to track or something. Not live to track.
And yet they need a live drummer? I don't know.
He was funny.
Yeah, indeed. And hey, some of the best laughs came from both of those girls, both of the daughters of Depp and Kay Smith. So even despite the film's shortcomings, I really liked it so much more than I was anticipating to. So thumbs up at the end of the day. If I was Ebert and he was Siskel, damn, man, I really liked it.
It was happy. I'd give it like a 1-up, 1 kind of sideways kind of thing.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know,
I was laughing incessantly.
I knew what it was, but it still fell short in a couple of areas. Again, as much as we're a horror channel, and as much as I love good use of big practical effects, I was just disappointed.
Scares in this film.
It was actually akin to the finale of Knights of Badassdom, but that was actually done in a more satisfying manner.
Yeah, it was a little bit gorier.
Not the movie. The ending of Knights of Badassdom was done more satisfying than this one.
Well, so I'm going to jump in and say we extend the grande gracias, as my silliness would say, and yeah, check out Yoga Hosers and, you know, make up your own mind, see if you dig this new Kay Smith bit of crazy mashupness is the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, check it out, make up your own mind. It may not be for you. If you have teen girls, maybe take them to see it. It might be a fun bonding experience. They might end up liking it, who knows, but like I said, check it out. If not in theater, definitely watch it on VOD, because it'll at least be worth that amount of money. So thanks very much for watching, you guys. I've been Cecil Laird.
Gracias, up and Jaime and Fuego.
And until next time, remember, stay scared.